Right, so on Monday, we often look at the markets and discuss the overall economy with our economics editor. Automotive companies are scaling up their manufacturing of electric vehicles. So that, of course, is good for the environment, but there are concerns that it could impact investment here in South Africa and jobs. To discuss, we're joined by economics editor Tshepo Mongoai. Great to have you with us, as always.
It's a pleasure,
Francis. So a lot of these concerns are coming after big announcements from the likes of Ford.
Well, absolutely. There's been a lot of traction in the electronic vehicle market, a lot of investment, a lot of changes that we're seeing. And definitely it's going to change a lot of things in terms of how automotive industry works and operate the value chain, the components, the suppliers. And certainly for countries like South Africa, it will be very important to see how we position ourselves. There are a lot of discussions that are happening behind closed doors because, as you know, there's a lot of anxieties. The electronic vehicle market employs far less workers compared to the engine combustions. And there's going to be a lot of... Well, it's by nature. There's in a combustion engine, there are a lot of components that are involved. And so there are a lot of supply, there are value chain, there are towns that have been built based on those industries. Electronic vehicles, what we're seeing is less, is more technical. It doesn't require as much components as internal combustion engines. So there's going to be a lot of rationing. Some factories and plants may be closed. We've heard of Ford. Ford is scaling down some of its production in Germany because it doesn't require as much workers for that. So those changes are imminent. South Africa, we've just came up with a road plan last year, and one wonders, are we not behind? I know some years back, I think it was in 2010, there was an electric vehicle that was promoted to Jules. And it was promising at the time, but change of leadership, also the priorities change, and we've never heard of that a vehicle. And apparently it was ready for commissioning, in the market. But that hasn't happened. So we're playing a lot of catch up, and it's going to be tough to engage and to convince these guys to say, please stay with us. But probably they will give us a lot of conditions if they have to stay. And then the other thing is that we know that most of these automotive industries, in order for them to establish their assembly plants, they want a certain percentage of the units to be for the consumption in the local market. We're not anywhere far in terms of rolling out electronic vehicles in this market.
And this is all about the plugs where you charge. So South Africa behind. So you're saying the global manufacturers don't really want to come here if they can't sell lots of cars here. Why make electric vehicles here if you have to export most of them?
Yeah, absolutely. Last week, in fact, you remind me, Nissan South Africa, there were protests in Japan, at the Japan embassy, where the workers are starting to see the signs that it looks like there's a change coming here, especially with this so-called just transition to electronic vehicles. And they were a bit worried, and for right reasons, because most of this discussion happened behind closed doors. Most of these automotive industries, they don't want to upset the current workers who are mainly employed in the production of internal combustion markets. They have a lot of supplies. They still need this workforce. The question is, they are spending a lot of money that they need for electric vehicles. So they are using production and sales of internal combustion engines, and they are putting it into electric vehicles. But the lifespan is short. I mean, some of the targets set by this automotive industry is 2025, 2030. Ford, for example, they are saying by 2030, all the vehicles sold in Europe will be electric vehicles.
And that's a short time frame in economic terms.
Absolutely.
What does this mean finally for South Africa's huge incentive program? It's been highlighted as one of the great projects in our economy to attract these global car makers. They obviously get benefits in the American market because of our deal with the US and the way the US sees Africa. But what does it mean for that? Always hailed as a success.
Well, they're trying to use the very same strategy to retain the investment in the automotive industry, to say that bring your production of electric vehicles, there'll be incentives, we'll build a lot of capacity internally so that it's easy for you. But we know the challenges. For example, we are far from the market, so you need way more to convince these guys to stay on and continue invested in South Africa. And there will be changes and there will be difficult choices that we made, and suppliers are facing a tough one who are currently supplying the automotive industries. And we know that these automotive industries, they don't want to play open cards about the changes that are coming. But yes, those changes are coming. The question is the road plan that we just came up with a solution? Apparently Nissan plant could be moving to Egypt. So there'll be a lot of consolidation that is happening. We are competing. It's not just us saying that we'll give incentives, so stay. I mean, other countries are also finding more innovative ways to attract these investors, and they are giving skills, they are giving far much more. We have challenges with electricity, for example. So
and even water problems in the Eastern Cape affecting car manufacturing even, I'm sure, in some way. I'm not really sure, but a lot of companies saying that affects our business.
Absolutely, and we don't have electric vehicles on our roads.
Yeah.
We should have been having some on our roads by now.
All right, thank you very much. And let us know how it goes. Let's see how government responds to this possible threat, possibly losing these investors that have been very important for our economy. That was Tshepo Mongoai, SABC's news economics editor.